So after a car wreck, very often an insurance adjuster is going to get involved right away. Sometimes they'll reach out to you before you reach out to the insurance company even. But at any rate, insurance adjusters get involved. And it's super important to remember that their job at the end of the day is to protect the interest of the insurance company and to a certain extent protect the interests of their insured, their policyholder, and that might not be you. Okay, so remember that as you're dealing with them, and also remember that they are professionals. Okay, they've been trained. They are trained, skilled negotiators. Okay, they know what they're doing, and it is almost certainly your first time being in this situation, or you've only been in this situation a very limited number of times, and they've done it many, 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 many times. And I often explain to people that the adjusting that insurance adjusters do is they adjust down the value of your case and want to offer you nothing if they can get away with it, or offer you less than what we are going to see as the full value of your case and what a lot of reasonable folks would say is the full value of your case. So beware, be careful, and if you can, go ahead and get an attorney involved in your case, especially if the case involves significant injuries, because in those cases that adjuster is going to be working overtime to, again, adjust down the value of your claim. So one of the things that adjusters do early on after a car wreck is very often they will want to get a recorded statement. And the recorded statement might at first blush seem like just a normal, reasonable thing. They just want to know what happened, etc. But they're also doing that in a recorded setting. So that recording can potentially be used against you later on. If you say something that sounds a certain way, you might mean it one way and it sounds another. And it's not unusual for insurance adjusters to kind of steer the conversation in such a way that you might say something that sounds like one thing, but you really meant something else. Like, for example, a wreck could be 99% somebody else's fault, but you admit to some degree of fault during the conversation. Like, maybe I should have done this better, or I should have done that better. And they could use that against you later and say, hey, you said it was your fault. You said you admitted some fault here, and we think you're mostly at fault, so we're not going to pay anything on this claim. They can do things like that. Another thing that they may want to get you to say is, I'm all right, I'm okay. Like, how you doing? I'm okay. You know, we're used to saying that sort of thing. Well, if you've been hurt and you need to get medical attention, or you might need to get medical attention several hours later, which is often the case in a car wreck, some of the symptoms start to show up after the adrenaline starts to go away and after a little bit of time has passed. But if you said, I'm okay, during a recorded statement, then they could try to use that against you. You said you were okay, and now you're saying you're not. I mean, so we're not going to pay for this medical treatment or what have you. That's another thing. They may steer you into not retaining an attorney. Okay, that's another thing that insurance adjusters may do, either in the lead up to the recorded statement or in a separate conversation. They may discourage you from getting an attorney. Now, who does that help? If you don't have an attorney, and the insurance company, the one who's going to be, should be cutting a check to you, if they have all kinds of attorneys and you have no attorney, and it's a legal situation, which is what an insurance claim is. It's an obligation that the at-fault party has under the law to pay for your damages. If they have attorneys, they're skilled negotiators, and this is your first time, or you've been through this once or twice before tops, and they have all these attorneys at their disposal. I mean, how do you think that's going to turn out for you? There's a good chance that they're going to get a one-up on you and get an advantage, and ultimately probably not pay the full value of the claim. Another thing that an insurance adjuster is going to want to do early on in many cases is try to get you to go ahead and settle with them. You know, they'll sometimes imply, or maybe even out and out say, but certainly imply that, yeah, if you take this money, we'll take care of your medical bills later, just sign this release and everything will be fine. Well, the medical bills don't get taken care of later, and you signed a release, which means you don't have the right to do anything about that case beyond what they've already paid out to you. So in other words, if they pay out $500 to you and you sign a release signing away your rights, then there could be no recourse for getting your medical bills paid, for your lost income, for your loss of enjoyment of life, for your physical pain, for your mental anguish, for your medical bills, your future medical bills, your future lost income, and so on and so on and so on. So when you, instead of going it alone, when you hire an experienced attorney who has your back, who is fully engaged in helping you and making sure that your right to be made whole is preserved, instead of compromised or even destroyed early on, like they might want to do to you, when you have an attorney on your side fighting for you that way, then you're going to be far better off than you would be if you go it alone and they pull out one of these tricks in their bag that we see them do all the time. A lot of times people come to us after some of this monkey business has gone on and their situation is drastically compromised or harmed, and we have to try to make up lost ground. Whereas if they had come to us right at the beginning and gotten good advice and let us handle things to the extent that we can do that, and etc., then they're going to be way better off than someone either coming to us late or someone who's gone it alone completely. So hope that's helpful to you. I've got a lot of friends who are adjusters. You know, we talk to these folks all the time. I'm not saying all adjusters are horrible, awful people, but what I can tell you is that insurance adjuster tactics can seriously harm your situation if you are not extremely careful. And very, very often, the best course of action is to simply retain a good, experienced lawyer, law firm to help you in this situation, and you're going to be much better off. Much, 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 much better off, in my opinion. So hope that's helpful. Take care of yourself.